What's happening, YouTube? Cowboy here, and it's finally time to bring you the level 61 Mechromancer build. So this one obviously took a bit longer than the others, and I guess the main reason was I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go with it. Part of me wanted to go for an ordered chaos type build just because in general that's what everyone goes with on Mechromancer for boss fights. You know, stack up, get 400 or 500 stacks of anarchy, slap something in the face for a bunch of damage. Honestly, it's not really my playstyle, just takes too long, too monotonous, don't really find it fun. And for a while I was working on just an LBT build where we had a little bit in Best Friends Forever, a little bit in Ordered Chaos, and we had great damage, but we had no survivability. So in the end, we ended up going for a full hybrid between LBT and Best Friends Forever. And ultimately what this comes down to is we're going to be doing a shit ton of damage, killing everything. Our buddy Deathtrap's going to be hanging out and killing everything with us. And in the end, it's basically a friends with benefits type deal where we just fuck up shit together. So, to get the build kicked off, let's go down our LBT tree. As you can see, I ended up going with just 1 point in Morpep and then the other 4 in Myelin. Main reason for this, there's a lot of discussion. It's basically saying that Morpep is currently broken, that it doesn't actually add the chances that it says it does. I mean, in my testing, I couldn't really confirm or deny whether or not that's true, but since we get 5 points from it from the Legendary Mechro class mod, figured fuck it. Let's drop 1 point in, so it's 6 out of 5. We'll put the other 4 into Myelin just to, get a little bit of shield capacity, a little shock damage resist, and we'll move on with our life. So, down to the second tier. Obviously, we get 5 points from the Legendary class mod once again. Drop a point in. I mean, it's only 18% melee damage, but at the cost of 1 point, just pick it up. Who gives a shit? Obviously, 5 points into Shockstorm. Main reasoning for this is going to be that Deathtrap is going to be killing shit, so that's going to have these Shockstorms going off. Works out quite well. As for the Stare, honestly, I would skip this ability just because, in testing at least, I found that, well, for one, this move doesn't ever do what it says it does. There's no laser sweep across the battlefield. It's always Deathtrap staring at one dude and burning him. The animation takes forever, and that's less time that he's going to be up, swiping something in the face for 1,000,000 damage. So, skip the Stare, move on down, drop a point into Shock and All. The damage on this isn't too high, but, it's still there. It's just free damage going out when you reload. Pick it up. Who cares? Moving on, Electrical Burn. Awesome, awesome skill to have. And the main reason we're going to pick up Electrical Burn instead of Evil Enchantress is, for one, Evil Enchantress is a kill skill, so it's not always going to be up. But just considering how each of these skills work, Electrical Burn is going to give us a 20% chance to proc burn damage. Now that burn damage is going to be based on our Electrocute damage, so with the exception of certain, things that separately buff electric damage after it's applied, because you'll notice when Electrical Burn goes off, you're not getting the same ticks as your electric damage, but you're still getting ticks that are around, 75% of the electric damage that you're doing. So when you look at it like that, you're basically doing, if you consider, your Electrical Burn is just, 100%, add if you consider your Electrocute as 100%, add the burn to that, and we're getting like 175% damage. Whereas with Evil Enchantress, 5 points in this, it's just adding 30% to the just the electric damage. So in the long run, I think Electrical Burn is just a better bet, more damage overall. On top of that, there's a chance for this to go off constantly on every electrical effect we're doing. Great skill overall. Pick it up. Down from there, Wires Don't Talk. I mean, 15% outright to Shock and Electric. No reason to not pick it up. 1-2 Boom. Awesome, awesome skill to get for Deathtrap. I mean, like I said, the Stare, complete garbage. 1-2 Boom. This thing fucking destroys shit. Now, sometimes Deathtrap's a little bit derpy with it. He'll, shoot it through the floor or the ceiling. But for the most of the time, when he shoots this thing out, if you manage to catch it, I mean, especially if enemies are slagged, I'm consistently seeing this thing hit for anywhere from 1,000,000 up to 3,000,000 damage. So, awesome ability, clears out rooms, definitely pick it up. Moving down from there, Interspersed Outburst. And, I mean, I've said it in the other videos, I'll say it again, slag is key to having any kind of progression whatsoever in UVHM. You have to have it, and Interspersed Outburst is a great way to apply it. I mean, we're going to be running a slag weapon to begin with, in addition to our shock ones, What's nice about this is, you know, if you need to, you can run around, let the stacks build up. When you pop something, it actually does respectable damage. And on top of that, if you don't have a slag weapon, this is going to give you a good chance to get some slag up. Down from there, drop the point to make it sparkle. Awesome skill to have. And in my testing at least, whatever element you give Deathtrap, he can apply to targets. So if you put slag on Deathtrap and he starts beating on stuff with his melee attack, there's a good chance he'll slag it up. And that alone makes the skill worth it, in my opinion. On top of that, the damage from this actually is counted as a separate instance. So, you know, let's say you enchant him with slag, for example. You'll see Deathtrap, he'll do his melee swing for like 170k, and then you'll also see a purple damage popping up that indicates the slag damage that he's doing at the same time. Obviously, we get, you know, 5 points from the class mod, so drop one into smaller lighter. I'll take a 6% magazine size decrease for 36% reload any day. Moving over to our best friends forever tree, 5 points in cooking up trouble. I mean, 4% health regen's nice. And alternatively, we could get close enough, but considering we don't have anarchy, it's not really that useful to us. I mean, our shots are going to be hitting people. We're not going to really be missing, so this skill doesn't really come into play. Cooking up trouble, on the other hand, if we just need to, you know, run and let our health get up a bit while Deathtrap fucks up shit, great way to get some free health. Of course, we're going to drop 1 point over into better half since we already get fire from the legendary class mod. I'll gladly take a 72% fire rate increase. Drop a point into buck up. Great skill to have, especially because we're going to be running shields that have Novas on them. And as you know, with Nova shields, you're not going to get that proc again until your shield is fully healed up. So basically, fancy mathematics in combination with buck up, it's going to make sure that, you know, after a Nova proc goes off, our shield's going to get back to full so that that Nova proc can happen again. And obviously, as I just mentioned, fancy mathematics is one of the reasons we're going to get that. Recharge rate and delay are both two things that are going to be key if we're constantly proccing off shield Novas. Moving from there, Upshot Robot, core skill you got to have if you're going to run Deathtrap. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're doing a Deathtrap in LBT build, if you're working him into Order Chaos. If you want Deathtrap involved in your build in any core way, you have to have this skill. And not so much for the melee damage, but just the fact that every time an enemy dies, you get 5 seconds on the duration. That's going to be huge. Moving from there, we picked up Potent as a Pony. And the main reason for that being, you know, Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, enemies are going to be hitting harder. 20% extra health is something that's always going to be welcome. 10% more on Deathtrap also sounds great. You know, overall health is always a good thing. No point to really pass it up. Our only alternative is Unstoppable Force, and the regenerate capacity per second, that's something that I consider very situational. I mean, if you're using Flame of the Firehawk, for instance, grabbing this talent, you effectively just screwed over your entire strategy. So, in that aspect, skip this, get the health instead. Moving down in our tree, Explosive Clap, for obvious reasons. This skill just blows shit up, does a great job at doing it. I mean, especially if targets are slagged, I'm seeing Deathtrap hit, you know, 1.5 million explosions on enemies with this, so great skill for him. And then, of course, we needed 1 more point just to progress further into the tree, so we ended up picking up Maid of Cerner stuff. I mean, it's only a point, but otherwise we could have, you know, dropped it in better half. Whatever. It's 1 point, who cares? Drop it to progress. 20% cooler, max this shit out. And the big reason for this is obviously we got 60% action skill cooldown rate. I mean, with the 5 points from the class mod and the 5 points we're putting into it, 60% is huge. This is going to let us get our Deathtrap out, you know, extremely quick. Basically, our cooldown gets down to about 20 seconds when we couple this with a couple other things. And if you're going to be running your Deathtrap a lot, that's going to be key, is, you know, not only keeping him out, but being able to get him out when he goes away as fast as possible again. And then finally, sharing is caring. For obvious reasons, because this is what's going to make Deathtrap the beast that he's going to become. So moving into items, just like the other builds, going to rock the Ruby on this, and just more and more, I mean, this is just a gun that it's so beautiful in Ultimate Vault Hunter, just because we're going to be doing so much damage, and the Ruby is just going to translate that all into health. And especially because previously, you know, we had the health coming in from Discord. Since we don't have that this time around, having the health coming in off of Ruby is a great way to, you know, basically compensate for our lack of healing. Aside from that, Thunderball Fist is still a fantastic weapon to have. I mean, even though we're doing a hybrid build, we still got a heavy focus on shock. when it comes to shock, this pistol is king. Moving down from there, we got our shock slow hand. I mean, very respectable damage, great accuracy on it. You know, the damage this puts out heals us. Overall, it's a good shotty to run. And then, of course, we got a Norfleet, just because if shit hits the fan, the Norfleet's that gun that's going to be able to get us back up and blow shit up in the process. So as I mentioned previously, we got the legendary class mod. The main reason for this is because of the cooldown rate on it. Moving down from there, Bone of the Ancients. This relic is basically like bread and butter for this build. I mean, 33% more shock damage, almost 40% to our cooldown rate. So right there, you know, we're looking at almost 40% cooldown rate there, almost 40% cooldown rate there, another 5 points and a 20% cooler, which puts that at 60% action skill cooldown rate. We basically end up keeping Deathtrap out a lot. Like, when he finally goes on to cooldown, he's back up in like 15-20 seconds. Longbow for Stormfront. I mean, it doesn't have to be longbow, obviously, but if you can get a Stormfront, this grenade is just fantastic for this build. I mean, since we're focused on electric damage, the main alternative, legendary-wise, is going to be the Quasar, and while I love the singularity effect of it, the damage output is nowhere near close to what the Stormfront's going to do. So if you can get your hands on a Stormfront, get it, don't let it go. Great grenade for this build. And then finally, we come to the shield choice. Now, the shield is where things get kind of iffy. There's a couple different choices you can go with. I'd say your three best choices are going to be a Hide of Terra, a Black Hole, or Flame of the Firehawk. Personally, I ended up sticking with the Hide of Terramorphous just because I like that not only do we get that initial Nova damage, we're also going to have Roy damage and Spike damage on our on Deathtrap. And one thing that you should consider is you can switch shields. So, you know, we could summon up Deathtrap with Hide of Terramorphous, and then after he's been summoned, we can switch to a different shield, and he'll still have Hide of Terramorphous on. So that is something to always consider. I mean, I tried it out with the Love Thumper. Honestly, I just found that while the Roy damage was nice to have, in the long run, it was way better having Novas. I mean, the Black Hole was great to have because, you know, the singularity effect would drag shit over, and then afterwards he would usually do his explosive clap, and that would blow a bunch of shit up. Flame of the Firehawk's also an excellent choice just because he'll run around and you have constant explosions, but I find that for Flame of the Firehawk to stay going off how you want it, you're going to have to sacrifice certain things, like your, you know, fancy mathematics buck up, because otherwise that shield regen is going to translate over to Deathtrap as well. And if he's running Flame of the Firehawk, you want those explosions going off full time, and in that regard, they're not going to be happening as much. So we ended up going with Hide of Terramorphous. Either way, let's jump into the build, blow some shit up, show you how we take care of business. We're going to slag our buddy up here. He's going to start off with our explosive ball of doom. Oh, look at that. Million damage. Dude wasn't even slagged. Look at that. First Nomad's dead. Let's toss out a grenade. So as you can see right here, we're pretty much just using the Ruby at this point. Main reason for that is obviously we get so much healing from the Ruby with the amount of electrical damage we're doing. I mean, watch the Stormfront goes off. Look at that. Boom. Full health. We got Assassin Watt right here. We got Deathtrap over here. He's fucking up that ultimate badass for us. We're gonna go help him out, because that's one thing you gotta consider. If you're gonna play a build where you're playing with Deathtrap, you really do have to play with Deathtrap, because if you just leave him off fighting somebody on his own, good chances are he's gonna die, and if he dies, you'll probably die along with him. So, you know, don't leave Deathtrap by himself. There we go. We got this baddie slagged up. Switch up to our Thunderball Fists. Get some damage into him. Oh, ultimate badass goes down. Let's continue on our path. Kill some more assassins. So you can see right here we got that health regen coming in. And, I mean, it's especially great just for, like, when you're moving between groups like this. I mean, nothing's worse than, you know, having to hunt around and you're just like, damn, I really hope I find a health pot laying on the ground. So in that regard, it's a fantastic skill just for that. Obviously, majority of our healing is going to be happening from the Ruby. Look at this silly ass. Get off me, bitch. You know about Thunderball Fists. And another big thing is, obviously, anytime you start to get low, just switch over to your Ruby, even if it's just for a second, and you'll usually end up getting enough of a heal that you're fine from that point on. Like, we'll toss out some shock, switch back to our Ruby. Look at that, full health. Works out so great. Look at this guy. You're slagged. He's probably dead already. We'll give him one more bullet. And Deathtrap's back up. We're going to give him some electricity this time. Look at this guy, silly lunatic. Where's my ball of doom? He just shot it. I saw him shoot it. I don't know where the hell he shot it at. Come on, Deathtrap, let's go. Oh, look at that. He actually listened to me. I'm so proud of him. I've been trying to teach him, but it hasn't been going so well. Look at this. We're just going to reload. Let the reload damage hit this guy. Oh, explosions everywhere. Explosions all day long. Look at this. Oh, now Deathtrap's slag. He's going to start smacking bitches. Look at this guy. What are you doing? You're dead. Oh, so much damage. Oh, look at this. This assassin, he killed our Deathtrap. Oh, you're going to pay. Both of y'all need to just get away from me. I'm not dealing with your bullshit. Look at this guy. Look at him. What is he doing? Assassin One? What do you think you're doing? Look at this. The Stormfront is just drilling him. This guy really thinks he's going to survive. Oh, he might. Can we get the reload off? Norfleet takes care of business. Oh, it puts us down, though. We go for the second shot. Can't see where the hell the enemy's at. Oh, the Norfleet gives us the victory. Back on our way. So, as you can see, I mean, honestly, the biggest thing the Mechromancer is lacking right now, I think, for UVHM is just survivability. And that's really where the Ruby's going to be key, because you're doing tons of elemental damage. Like, look at that, 2.5k explosions. That was 2.5 million. Man, that's huge. Look at this guy. What is this guy doing? I'm just gonna bitch slap you two dead. What, you want a fist fight? Come at me, bro. And that's really gonna be huge, because I mean, we obviously need the healing. The Ruby's gonna provide it. These bombers are getting annoying. Throw out some shocks. Switch back to the Ruby. Look at Deathtrap just taking care of business. He's like, oh, I got this. Look at that. 1 million swing into that guy. I mean, it's all about how you build him. If you build him right, he'll take care of you. As you can see, his health doesn't stay very high. So that's why I ended up going for the Terramorphous in the end, was just because I feel like having that extra void damage and the spike damage, I feel like that helps more than just, you know, the other damage in general. I mean, Flame of the Firehawk is great and all, but when I was using that, I felt like Deathtrap ended up dying quite a bit. One good thing I would consider, though, is personally, I still prefer the Black Hole, at least on Gauge, just because obviously we already have tons of benefit from Shock. So that all still persists. And on top of that, just the singularity effect on the Black Hole is just fantastic. What's this guy doing? Another interesting thing to note while we're on the note is Mechromancer is if you have get a Transformer. Oh, come on, man. Really? This guy's like dead. One interesting thing about the Transformer is that the shock damage you take from that, well, for one, as you can see right there with the binary Thunder Fist, or not just the Thunder Fist in general, the shock damage gives us rocket ammunition, which I found that to be interesting, similar along the lines of the whole you know, Norfleet Sham combo or Logan's gun with the Sham. But shock damage is also absorbed into the shield, so with our shield being low, if we don't go down, 1 second, here we go, gotta get up. There we go, we're up. We gotta find something that wants to shoot me without killing me if I'm gonna actually demonstrate this. There we go, this guy can, if he doesn't die right here. Okay, so we got a little bit of shield missing. Just get towards the explosion. You can see right there how it ended up topping off our shield. Not something I'd really give to Deathtrap. You can recharge his shields with it using stuff like the Thunderball Fists, so that's also something to consider if you just want to make him more, you know, give him a bit more survivability in the end. But I mean, choice ultimately, it's really whatever shield you find works best. Look at this guy. What's this assassin think he's doing? Look at this guy. What is he doing? He's just jumping at me, jumping all over the place. Look at you, slagged. There, enjoy a grenade. Oh, look at all the damage. Explosive ball of doom. Oh, look at it. Look at him just bleeding out. Oh, he's dead. But that's it for the Mechromancer, guys. Obviously, there's a lot of different things you can do. You know, the biggest thing that I gotta say with this build is it's gonna come down to your shield choice. So, you know, if you want lots of Novas on Deathtrap, give him a Nova shield. Obviously, as you saw right there, something like the Transformer works great because all your shock damage will just keep refilling his shield, give more survivability overall. You know, Roy damage also works in well. Either way, you got to pick a shield that's going to work with your playstyle. But that's it for the Mechromancer. So as always, thanks for watching. Obviously, up next, we're going to have Krieg the Psycho. I got 3 buddies who are already ready to just dedicate a whole day to power leveling me as fast as we can up to 61 and through UVHM so that I can get a build video up for you guys. So as soon as Krieg's released, plan on a build video within 24 hours of that. Aside from that, let me know what you think about the build. Let me know any items you think might have worked in better, and we'll see you guys with the next video.